Over the past few days, the whole world watched the Iranian missiles rain down on Israel. Missiles that were able to overcome the strongest air defenses in the world and left behind distractions that we have never seen before in Israel. So how did Iran manage to build the strongest missile arsenal in the Middle East? In 2015, the world was shocked when Iran broadcast footage of a massive underground tunnel stretching hundreds of meters long and standing 10 meters high. But this wasn't just an empty tunnel, it was backed with missiles, rockets, and advanced military gear. And here's the crazy part. The commander of Iran's Air Force said that Iran is floating on a sea of these tunnels. Not just one, not two, these underground missile bases are spread all across the country. Some even buried as deep as 500 meters under the ground, and the missiles inside locked and loaded and ready to launch at any moment. This is the first time the world saw Iran's underground missile cities. And Iran openly declared word for word that these underground bases will erupt like volcano from the depths of the earth if any of Iran's enemies even dared to attack. Of course, these scenes and these statements came as a shock to the United States and specifically to Israel. What made it even more alarming was that just shortly before broadcasting this footage, Iran had announced the development of a new missile called Imad. Imad is Iran's first precision-guided ballistic missile, and that changed everything. A guided missile means that Iran can launch it toward a specific target with very low margin of error, which means hitting a city like Tel Aviv wouldn't just be possible, it will be easy. But of course, the Iranian missile development didn't happen overnight, but it was the result of many years of development under an international siege that made it possess the largest missile arsenal in the Middle East. But when did actually the Iranian missile project actually begin? In 1979, before the Islamic Revolution, Iran had one of the strongest militaries in the region with a massive defense budget. And during that time, there was a nascent missile program under the rule of the Shah Mohammad Reza. But after the Islamic Revolution, the United States imposed a wide-ranging arms embargo on Iran, and many of the key figures behind the missile project fled the country. And only 1 year later, in 1980, the first Gulf War took place between Iran and Iraq, which lasted for 8 years. The Iranian army entered this war, and although on paper it was stronger than Iraq, but Iraq had a stronger air force compared to Iran, specifically after Iraq launched a large number of missile strikes on the Iranian cities. And here, the Iranian regime began seriously considering building a missile arsenal to deter Iraq or any other future enemy. And in 1985, 5 years into the war, both the Iranian and Iraqi armies suffered heavy depletion in weapons and manpower. With neither side holding a significant advantage over the other, at that point, Iran decided to send a team from the Revolutionary Guard to visit many countries that made sell them ballistic missiles, including Libya and Syria and North Korea. In the same year, Iran was able to buy 30 short-range R-17 Elbrus missiles from Libya, which were originally made by the Soviets. Later, they also bought 120 Scud B missiles from North Korea. Iran used these missiles in its war with Iraq. But the bigger goal stayed clear in the minds of the Iranian. They had to start making their own missiles. And here appears the godfather of Iran's missile program, a man named Hassan Tehrani. During the war, when his country was in desperate need of missiles, he saw an opportunity and used it to kickstart Iran's missile project. It all started with simple missiles launched from basic platforms like the Nazat missiles, which were Iran's first service-to-service missiles. After the war, Iran's cooperation with North Korea grew stronger, and between 1993 and 1998, Iran developed the Shihab ballistic missile series. which were the Iranian version of the Scud B and the Scud C missiles. Iran ended up producing over 3,000 Shihab-1 and Shihab-2 missiles. Then, in 1998, Iran unveiled the Shihab-3, a missile based on North Korea's Nodong missile. And by 2003, they had successfully extended its range from 1,000 kilometers to 2,000 kilometers. At first, it made seem that everything was going great with Iran's missile program, but the truth is Iran wasn't happy at all because of two big problems. The first problem was that these missiles were not accurate. They were okay if you want to shoot in general direction and want to scare your enemy. But if you need to hit a specific target like an airport or a military base, then yeah, they were basically garbage. The second problem was the fuel. Most of Iran's missiles back then used the liquid fuel. And that type of fuel takes a lot of time to load before launching, so if there's emergency, you can't fire quickly and the enemy will hit you first. On the other hand, the missiles with solid fuel can be filled ahead of time and left ready to launch at any moment, fast and easy. This led the Iranians to focus on producing solid fuel locally in Iran and, more importantly, on manufacturing the missiles themselves. Indeed, in 2001, Iran tested the first time a solid fuel missile with a range of 200 kilometers, named Fateh 110. And since then, Iran began building the largest missile arsenal in the Middle East and started producing short-range and medium-range and long-range missiles. Another major milestone in Iran's missile program came in 2015 with the unveiling of the Samar missile, a precision cruise missile with a range of 2,500 to 3,000 kilometers. This missile served as a message to Southern and Eastern Europe that the Iranian missiles could reach Europe for the first time. So, this means if a NATO country decides to playing with us, we have missiles that can hit you in your own home. And of course, the other important station in 2015 is the discovery of the underground missile cities. It's believed that every Iranian city has a missile city underneath it. This means that there is literally another Iran under the ground. Iran continued developing its missile program until it surprised everyone in 2023 by announcing that it had developed its first hypersonic missile called Fatah. This missile is 15 times faster than the speed of sound, which makes intercepting it with air defense system extremely difficult. And to understand how significant this news is, imagine that the only countries that own hypersonic missiles are the United States and Russia and China. Just imagine Iran now owns a missile that only the world's superpowers have. And of course, this news sent shockwaves through Israel, literally made it tremble. Iran's massive and diverse missile arsenal has become a serious threat to Israel. In the recent attacks, Iran managed to strike multiple locations inside Israel, overcoming some of the world's most advanced air defense systems, like the Iron Dome and the David Sling. And what exhausts Israel even more is the huge cost of defending against these attacks. The price of an air defense missile is often much higher than the offensive missile it tries to stop. So, if the Iranian missile worth $1 million, Israel needs a $3 million missile to stop it. And despite these huge expenses, many missiles still manage to get through and hit their targets. Simply because Iran fires such a massive number of missiles and drones at the same time, overwhelming the defenses. Some statements say that Israel's cost to defend against Iran's attack reached $500 million a day. Some even say up to $1 billion. And what scares Israel even more is that Iran has already been able to manufacture some missiles that can carry a nuclear warhead, such as Fatah missile. This means that if Iran is able to manufacture the nuclear bomb, the missiles that can carry it is already ready. And this was Iran's missile project in simple terms, which has proven its strength in the past few days. And yeah, man, that's it. Of course, if you're still here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram, man. And see you in the next video. Bye.